When God is preparing to bless your life in a way you've never seen before, he won't send a calendar invite or sound an alarm. Instead, he begins with pressure, with pruning, and with a holy stirring that feels more like disruption than deliverance. And here's the truth. When something massive is about to enter your life, the first sign won't be ease. It'll be discomfort. You may feel like you're losing control. Things that used to fulfill you now feel empty. Relationships shift without explanation. Doors close that once seemed wide open. But what if this isn't chaos? What if this is construction? God doesn't bless who you were. He blesses who you're becoming. And the process of becoming is rarely smooth. He's not just giving you something big, he's making you into someone strong enough to receive it. Before greatness, there's a great undoing. The old must fall apart so the new can be built. The pain, the loss, the confusion, it's not punishment, it's preparation. A garden doesn't bloom without breaking through the soil. A diamond doesn't shine without pressure, and a soul doesn't rise without surrender. When you feel like everything is being taken away, it's often because your hands are being emptied to hold something greater. This is the season of pruning. God removes what won't serve you in the next level of your destiny. That friendship you lost, that opportunity that passed you by, that quiet loneliness you can't explain. It's not abandonment, it's alignment. God is refining your circle, your heart, your focus, because the blessing he has for you is too heavy for who you used to be. In this season, you'll be tested not to break you, but to build you. God doesn't test for sport. He tests for strength. He's stretching your patience, sharpening your faith, and anchoring your identity in him, not in what you have. It's not about quick wins. It's about lasting transformation. That's why your character is being forged before your breakthrough is delivered. And when it seems like nothing is moving, remember, God moves in silence. A seed doesn't make noise when it grows underground. You're not stuck. You're being planted. You're not lost. You're being led. And even when you don't see progress, heaven sees purpose. Every trial is a tool in his hands. Every delay is divine. Every no is clearing space for a bigger yes. Before we continue, if you believe your breakthrough is closer than it seems, type "I'm ready for God's plan" in the comments. Claim it. Speak it. Own it. There's a reason God doesn't always show you the full picture. If he did, you'd either rush ahead unprepared or run away overwhelmed. So instead, he moves step by step, inviting you into trust, not just clarity. That's how faith grows, and that's how divine timing unfolds. Waiting on God isn't passive. It's one of the most active things you'll ever do, because waiting in faith is a test of your spirit. It's in the silence where you either build strength or surrender to doubt. But here's what most people forget. God's delay is not God's denial. His silence doesn't mean absence. In fact, silence is often the sound of preparation. When you think nothing is happening, God is setting the stage. He's aligning the right people, moving unseen pieces, and preparing your heart for what your eyes haven't seen yet. Napoleon Hill once said, "Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle." That applies not just to your hustle, but to your heart. You are being developed in the dark, like film, so that when the light hits, the picture will be fully formed. Remember Joseph in the Bible? He was betrayed, imprisoned, forgotten, but he wasn't overlooked by God. He was being trained in silence, because the throne he was destined for required wisdom, restraint, and humility. Those virtues were born in dungeons, not palaces. The same goes for you. You're not being buried, you're being rooted. But growth isn't enough. God also calls you to obedience. And obedience means moving, even when it doesn't make sense. Abraham didn't have GPS coordinates when God told him to go. He just had a promise, and he walked on it. That's what faith is. It's action without full understanding. It's trusting that God's plan is wiser than your questions. When you feel that nudge to start something, to leave something, to speak up, or to be still, don't ignore it. That inner prompting might be the divine signal to move. Obedience will open doors that talent alone can't. Obedience unlocks favor, access, and provision. When you act in faith, you invite God's power to meet you in motion. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to move. The blessing is waiting, but it's waiting on the version of you that's willing to trust, to grow, and to walk, even when the road isn't paved yet. If this speaks to you, type "I trust God's timing" in the comments to affirm your faith in the process. Don't just wait. Wait well. Walk forward, even if you can't see the destination yet, because what's ahead of you is bigger than what you're leaving behind. Note, when God is about to take you higher, he starts by trimming what weighs you down. This is the season where things fall apart. Not to destroy you, but to remove what can't survive at your next level. You may not recognize it at first, but divine pruning always comes before divine promotion. We often pray for God to elevate us, but we're not always prepared for what elevation costs. God can't take you into the new if you're still clinging to the old. So he begins to shift your environment, sometimes by closing doors you thought were permanent, removing people who once felt essential, or stripping opportunities that seemed like the answer. But here's what you must understand. Pruning is not punishment. It's preparation. Think of a vine in a garden. To grow stronger, it must be cut back. The branches that no longer serve its growth must be removed so that life can flow into the parts that will bear fruit. God does the same with us, the habits, relationships, and attachments that no longer serve your purpose. They're not meant to stay, and letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're being made free. The truth is, some people and things are only meant to accompany you for a season. They helped you grow, but they can't come with you into the season of breakthrough. If they did, they'd hold you back. So when God removes, he's not taking from you, he's making room. Don't mourn the loss of what God intentionally moved. Celebrate the space being created for the blessing that's on its way. But be warned, pruning can feel like rejection, like isolation. You might ask, why is this happening to me? Or why am I losing so much? But that's when you must shift your perspective. Napoleon Hill said, every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That seed is hidden in your surrender. What God subtracts in one season, he multiplies in the next. But multiplication only happens after obedience. Let him prune. Let him refine. Let him reshape the landscape of your life until it looks like the environment where your calling can truly thrive. When you feel like everything is being stripped away, say this: God, I trust the pruning. Type it in the comments if you're in that season right now. Declare it. Own it, because what's coming is greater than anything you're letting go of. Sometimes, before anything around you changes, something inside you begins to shift. A stirring begins. Not loud, not dramatic, but deep and undeniable. You feel it in the quiet moments, a sense that where you are no longer fits who you're becoming. It's the echo of a divine call you haven't fully heard but can no longer ignore. That stirring, that restlessness is not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're waking up. God often prepares you for something big by first awakening a holy dissatisfaction within you. What used to excite you now feels hollow. What once brought comfort now stirs discomfort. This is not you being ungrateful. This is your soul expanding. You're growing out of environments, desires, and patterns that no longer align with your purpose. It's God whispering, there's more. Napoleon Hill said, desire is the starting point of all achievement. But spiritual desire, that's a deeper calling. It's when your spirit begins to hunger for what your eyes can't yet see. It's a craving not for more money, more status, or more praise, but for more meaning, more mission, and more of God's hand in your life. You may not even know what you're reaching for, but still you reach. That's faith. That's the beginning of alignment. You feel the pull of a future that hasn't arrived, but it's pulling you all the same, and that is no accident. When you feel this way, you're not broken. You're being recalibrated for greatness. This sacred unease is what God uses to shift your vision. It makes you hungry enough to chase him and brave enough to release what no longer feeds your soul. This is where your true identity begins to rise. The version of you that doesn't settle, the version of you that answers the call without needing all the details, the version of you that says yes to growth no matter what it costs. And make no mistake, it will cost something. It might cost familiarity, comfort, or even approval. But in return, God will give you clarity, conviction, and divine momentum. If you're feeling that inner pull right now, that knowing that something bigger is being born in you, type "I feel the shift" in the comments. That one act of faith might be the confirmation your future has been waiting for. Faith. When God is preparing you for something greater, he doesn't just change your environment, he changes your appetite. What once satisfied your soul begins to lose its taste. The things you once chased with passion now leave you feeling empty. That's not failure. That's alignment. God is shifting your desires to match the weight of the calling he's about to place on your life. He's rewriting the internal script. He's removing the cravings for temporary things to make room for eternal things. This is how heaven prepares you, not by forcing change from the outside in, but by stirring transformation from the inside out. Napoleon Hill taught that success comes to those who become success conscious. But what God adds to that is this. True success begins when you become purpose conscious. That's the moment you stop chasing applause and start chasing assignment. You no longer want what others have. You want what God designed specifically for you. And so your distractions fall away. Your comforts feel hollow. Your heart starts to beat for something more meaningful. You begin to feel a holy discomfort, a sacred dissatisfaction that refuses to let you stay in places of small thinking or spiritual slumber. This isn't burnout. This isn't boredom. This is breakthrough being birthed in silence. But be aware, this shift can feel lonely. You might feel disconnected from the people around you. Conversations may seem shallow. Old goals no longer inspire you. And that's okay. You're not being isolated. You're being elevated. You're not losing touch. You're gaining clarity. God is inviting you to walk a higher path. And the higher you go, the fewer people can breathe at your altitude. This change in desire is not accidental, it's strategic. God is rewiring your heart to want what he wants for you. Because when your desires align with his will, doors open that no man can shut. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop striving and start walking in purpose. And that's when your life begins to overflow. If you're in this moment where the old no longer satisfies and you feel your heart shifting, type God, align my desires in the comments. That small act of faith may be the spark that sets your destiny in motion. There will come a moment in your life when nothing makes sense, not because God has forgotten you, but because he's forming you. You'll feel stuck in a waiting room between where you've been and where you're meant to go. And in that sacred in-between, the enemy will whisper, you've been forgotten. But heaven will declare, you're being prepared. Waiting isn't punishment. It's training. It's not wasted time. It's invested time. In the delay, God is deepening your roots, strengthening your patience, and refining your character so you don't just receive the blessing, you sustain it. What feels like silence is actually strategy. What looks like a pause is actually preparation. God's timing may not align with your clock, but it is always perfect. If he gave you the breakthrough before the refining, you might fumble it. If he handed you the promise without process, you might not have the wisdom to hold it. That's why the blessing takes time. It's not just about what you're waiting for, it's about who you're becoming while you wait. Napoleon Hill once said, patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. And God adds to that faith. Faith when nothing is happening. Faith when the door stays shut. Faith when you don't hear a word, but you keep walking anyway. So if you're in that season where the waiting is stretching you, remember this. The quiet is not a no. It's a not yet. And not yet simply means that God is still shaping the outcome to fit the fullness of his plan. You haven't been denied. You've been reserved for something far greater. Keep showing up. Keep preparing. Keep obeying, even when there's no confirmation, because the day will come when the door opens, the answer appears, and the blessing arrives, not a moment too early, not a second too late, but right on time. And when it does, you'll realize the wait was worth it. If you've ever felt like you're being prepared for something you can't yet see, if you've been waiting and believing through the silence, type, I'm ready for God's perfect timing in the comments. If this message touched your heart, do me a favor. Like this video and subscribe for more divine motivation and wisdom. Dylan, comment below with the phrase, the wait is worth it, to claim your breakthrough. Your blessing is closer than you think. Stay faithful. Stay ready. God's about to do something big.